Hey, it is Monday, June 5th. I got the guy with the ever-present glasses on his head, JC Jordan Cox. We're talking Toyota explaining full sales, sub-30 Teslas, and no Skynet. None of that.
Yes.
We'll get to that. We don't want to blow the story.
You're right. We got to wait.
We can't get all the way there. We can't do it.
We got to build up to it. You're right.
That's right. Yeah, it's always the third story is always the one where it's like, we'll get there. Oh, see now. See, I did it again. I'm not used to the trigger pads, Jordan. I'm not used to the trigger pads. At least
I thought that fade out was pretty good. That was good.
It was. And then I brought the music in again. It's when you do it once every 2 weeks, it is what it is. Jordan, your first time on the Automotive Troublemaker. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, man. I am great. Being on here today and being able to just look at you and smile at you, man, I love it. This is great. This is a great way to start the day.
All right, give the people just a little bit of background, who you are, where you're at, what your title is, what you kind of do for your day job in the automotive industry.
Oh, man, you got it. My name's Jordan, also JC. We're out here in Northern Indiana. In South Bend, we've got 4 stores here at the Gates Automotive Group, and I do digital marketing for them. So it's always ever changing. It's always something new, and man, is it fun.
And if you're at an event and you don't get a selfie with Jordan wearing his sunglasses on his head's inside, you haven't done an automotive.
You haven't lived and you haven't tried hard enough, right?
That's right. All right, couple things we got going on, man. We are dropping Amplify podcast, our joint podcast with Reuters, all over the place today. Right. Dinos Constantine has just dropped. Dinos is just an industry veteran that does not mess around when it comes to digital, and the podcasts out there on Amplify. If you haven't caught it, make sure you do. So Dinos is the COO of Holler Classic. So you're going to want to catch that. You can search Amplify anywhere where you get your podcasts. Also, Jordan, we're going to be in Atlanta in under 2 weeks next Wednesday evening. If anybody is in Atlanta, you're not going to want to miss it. 6 to 10 o'clock. We're doing a More Than Cars screening. We're doing the Live Tonight show. We're going to have people like Steve Greenfield and Patrick Abad and Liza Borges and Carrie Wise and Erica Tiffany Wells. Everybody coming in hot for that event. We're going to have people from all over the industry. The NIADA is coming, so we'll have independent, we'll have franchise dealers all vibing together as the industry. I know I'm guessing you're not coming down to Atlanta because it's like hard to get anywhere from your city.
That's right. We're in the middle of nowhere. It's hard to get everywhere. But man, in Atlanta, if you're at a dealership, there are free tickets. So please come get some swag.
There you go. That's it. Yeah. Look. Yeah, we're always going to bring swag. That's going to be the way it is. That's going to be. Well, speaking of swag.
Segue.
Time. And maybe swagger is the appropriate word, because our friends over at Toyota, your good friends, because you have a Toyota store,
right.
Have a plan to double its sales of fuel cell vehicles. Toyota is planning a hydrogen-powered version of its Crown sedan, which is part of its carbon neutral strategy. So as opposed to creating a whole new nameplate to carry a fuel cell, the Crown, which currently is not a hydrogen fuel cell vehicle, is going to take that drivetrain similar to the Mirai, which is also available overseas. And then the Crown is also going to be available as a hybrid. So true to form, Toyota is taking an approach where they are looking at every single option when it comes to drivetrains. So they have your ICE vehicles, your hybrid, hydrogen fuel cell, and electric and battery electric vehicles. In an April briefing, Toyota Executive VP Hiroki Nakajima stated that the mass production of fuel cells, owing to their lightweight nature and quick refueling, which is a big deal, will be driven by commercial vehicles. The company plans to promote fuel electric vehicles, starting with medium to heavy duty trucks. It's kind of coming off the heels of their introduction of the joint project with Daimler Trucks to combine their commercial and truck subsidiaries, Hino and Mitsubishi Fuso, primarily to develop hydrogen, autonomous, connected, and electrified tech. So if that ain't a tech rundown, I don't know what is.
And that's a big deal with the Crown coming out, man. So we've, like you said, we've got a Toyota store. We've had 2 Crowns come in so far, and man, those are good looking cars. The interior is amazing. Obviously, that's been a replacement of the Avalon, but boy, are those good looking cars. They're awesome.
They're very like futuristic. Actually, I think the writer of the article was basically like they have this futuristic tech forward shape and feel. The sight lines are really neat. But for it to go from like, hey, we've got an ICE vehicle and now we've also got the potential to have the hydrogen fuel cell. Actually, the vehicle that was on display overseas actually had a left-hand drive, meaning that it is
that's true
for overseas deliveries at some point. Probably not in the next year or so. It was unclear in any of the announcements whether or not the vehicle will be available in the US, but I for one would love to see the introduction of more hydrogen fuel cell, because here's the thing. I am so impatient, Jordan. The most impatient person. And if you need to ask me,
I'm number 2
to fuel up on a battery electric vehicle for 30 to 40 minutes, depending on exactly what type of charging I'm doing and how far I get to go, I'm annoyed. Like, if there's not a Buc-ee's around, then we got problems.
Exactly. That's right. Well, even like the refueling time is so important on those vehicles. With most EVs, we're talking about, man, with you go level 2, maybe even level 3, you can get it done in maybe 20 or 30 minutes, but still that's a long time. So refueling is so important on those cars.
Yep. Yeah, it's a great measured approach, and something we talk about a lot is like, hey, we got to research options. Interestingly enough, back in 2015, Toyota was saying that they wanted to deliver 30,000 vehicles a year by 2020 with fuel cell vehicles. They still have only delivered as a brand since the Mirai came out just over 30,000 total. So
total.
Hey, if that speaks to anything that we've heard about the year 2030, or how many vehicles are going to be produced, or how many battery electric vehicles, or how many fuel cell vehicles, like, hey, just keep owning what you're owning right now. Don't worry about tomorrow, because what we know is what's happening today, and vehicles are still getting sold. Speaking of what's happening today,
segue
time. It seems like every single day we have a new what's happening today in the world with Tesla. But this is a really interesting one. Toyota's buyers are in for a surprise recently, as the full $7,500 federal tax credit is now applicable to its most affordable Model 3, according to the online configurator, bringing the effective price down to about $30,000 for eligible buyers. Here's where we're walking down. Federal tax credit for Tesla's base Model 3, which starts at $40,000, was previously $37.50 due to restrictions on manufacturing and where the vehicle is manufactured and built. The increased tax credit essentially cuts the base model's cost down to $32,740 after federal incentives, and many additional state incentives get the vehicle at or below $30,000. Basically, it's a little unclear how they managed to sneak under that, but it seems like what they've done is take some of their battery production and some of the batteries that are produced here in the U.S. and prioritize them to be delivered in the Model 3, thereby clearing all of the new guidelines for the federal tax credit and making it easier to purchase a Model 3 at a lower price. We've been talking about getting these highline vehicles at or under a $30,000 price point for a long time, Jordan, and here it comes.
That's right. Well, even like Elon Musk wanted to do that for so long. He's been talking about getting it down to that 30 grand mark, and obviously getting under that 40 grand mark was a big thing, and now he's even closer to 30.
Yep. I would bet that you're going to see, I would not be surprised if there's a price adjustment on the Model 3 here real soon from Tesla, just to say like, hey, we did it.
Yeah.
Hey, we got it 100% without a doubt. We're under 30,000, because they've talked about so many times that they've got this, like, they basically own the ability to price, right?
Yeah.
And so, hey, look, there it is. Also, from a used car perspective, look at this. This is huge, right? We've been talking about how managing used car profitability and even managing EVs from a used car acquisition perspective has been a lot tougher because of the price adjustments just raw natively from Tesla and from other OEMs. But this is a massive thing that that used car directors need to be looking at, knowing like, hey, a couple days ago, $3,750, now $7,500 tax credit totally changes what a year or 2-year-old Tesla might or may not be worth in your market. So just heads up on that valuation.
Yeah, for sure. And Kyle, my hope is that they do it car dealer style, where it's $29,999.
That would be amazing. I would love, like, just that would be so Elon trolling, right? He would just be like,
Right.
just so you know, guys, I can do the $29,999 too. And then around the corner would come Jason Rice, and he'd be like, flat pricing for everyone. Make it
Exactly.
30,000, right?
Exactly. $30,000. That way you're in both price markets. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right. I don't have anything to get us to this next story except for a stop. And this is a little recap. If you listen to the pod from Friday, we went over a story that was all about a AI drone taking out a guy or taking out a comms tower or anything like that. But the story has changed its tune just a little bit. The Air Force and the Royal Aerospace Society have clarified comments made by Colonel Tucker Cinco Hamilton regarding a rogue AI drone simulation, saying the colonel misspoke. Basically, it was originally reported as an actual simulation. What it was just a thought experiment, reflecting potential challenges with an AI-powered capability. So the whole deal here is like nobody was using a joystick in this one, Jordan. It was just a bunch of dudes and gals in a room going, maybe one day, sometime, might have been, could have, maybe, right?
That's right. And not only was it not a simulation. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing right now. We're having just thoughts and talks, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, here it doesn't change the fact that, like, if our brains as humans can get there, can get the training to that point, like, all AI is human trained. And so if our brains can get there, the fear is, hey, this is still something that needs to go through a bunch of ethical touch points, a bunch of rigorous testing before it becomes anything that goes live into the battlefield.
Sure. And here's probably what happened was Colonel Cinco went and made some comments about it, and that got taken out of context and spun that way. I mean, you know how it is with the news cycle. And not only was it not a simulation, it was basically a simulation of a simulation.
Yes.
In a simulation.
It's basically the multiverse in real life is what, and maybe I'm just thinking because I was watching Ant-Man this week, and that's all it is. So, all right, well, that's all the time we have time for today. Hopefully you're not doing simulations inside of simulations. We got real people, real things to do, people to care for, communities, employees, customers, all that today. So make sure, start this off week and care for someone.
People to help, cars to sell.